What's going, guys? Aarava here. Welcome to a Q&A video today for 80,000 subscribers. Obviously, I said to you guys in the update video I did on Tuesday, I think it was last week, that I might do a Q&A if you guys asked enough questions or if you wanted to ask questions. And there's quite a fair amount of people that actually wanted it. So, yeah, I thought I'd do a Q&A for 80,000. It was originally going to be like a 75,000 celebration because it was like 3/4 of the way to 100. But obviously, then my exams got in the way and I kind of had to delay it. So we'll do it for 80k. But, yeah, you know, I've said it before in the update video, but once again, thank you guys so much for 80,000 subscribers. That's just absolutely an insane amount of people to actually click a little red button to want to see more of my content. So yeah, just a huge thank you to all of you guys. I just can't say it enough, really. But let's get straight into the Q&A. There's about, I think, 15 questions or 16 questions in this Q&A. Didn't want to make it too long, so if your question didn't make it in, I apologize for that. Maybe put it in the comments of this one, and I can maybe just type a reply to it. But basically, I just chose questions that I either haven't seen before in Q&As, or also some ones that were just kind of asked a lot, you know, so I can answer as many people, kind of, you know, kill many birds with one stone. It's sort of the kind of thing. I think that's the phrase. Anyway, let's get straight into this. If I look down like here, that's where the questions are on my computer monitor, and then I'll try and look back up to the camera. But anyway, the first question is from Jack. What's your advice for small upcoming YouTubers? I think the biggest thing that perhaps maybe is seen as a cliche, but it is so true, that you have to be doing something that you really enjoy. So make sure whatever you're making, you know, you can do it forever without really, you know, getting too worked up about it. And you actually, you know, wake up maybe and want to make that video, because trust me, it's a huge grind at the very start. It took me, I think it was a year and a half to get the first 1,000 subscribers on this channel. And you know, the first 1,000 is always the hardest 1,000, no matter what size channel you are. You know, like, you know, 1 million or like it's like 7 million or anything like that. I think if you ask any YouTuber, big or small, the first 1,000 is always the hardest one. So just keep grinding and make sure you're enjoying what, you know, because if you're enjoying what you're making, then the grinding aspect of it won't be so much of a grind. It will just be, you know, your complete motivation to make all those videos. I think that's the most important thing, because obviously life will always throw things at you. You might be, you might get busy because of social stuff or work or anything like that. And if you truly want to make those videos that you're uploading to your channel, then you will find some time or some way to make them. I mean, that's always a big thing for me, as why I think I've been able to continue doing YouTube through university. I think if I didn't enjoy what I was doing, then I probably would have given up and stopped doing YouTube at the beginning of first year of university 2 years ago. But you know, here we are today, still making videos. You know, because to me it was almost like I was so stubborn through these last 2 years about, you know, not giving up on uploading every single week, because I just love it so much and I'm so stubborn about it in that way. So yeah, just, you know, make sure you're doing it for the right reasons, and you know, just also be known that you just need to be consistently grinding away. You know, if you have an upload schedule, stick to it. You know, if it's only once a month, then fair play. Just do once a month then. Just make sure you hit that one video a month or once a week or whatever you're going to do. The next question is from Destal Racing 62. I think I said that right. I'm really poor with names. I'm just going to say that right now. I think people who watch my live streams know that. So sorry I pronounced that wrong. But he asks, have you ever thought about doing some other videos on other forms of racing? IndyCar, NASCAR, Formula E, etc. Yes, I've sort of thought about it. Obviously, you know, I've tried things in the past with like Need for Speed or like Forza. Obviously, those are not actual different forms of racing. They're just different racing games. But in terms of other racing series, to be honest, I haven't thought about that exactly. I've thought about other racing games, but other forms of racing, not really, because I'm really not that interested in other forms of like motorsport. It's really just F1 for me. So, I mean, I've sort of like IndyCar. I mean, I've watched like 2 races of IndyCar and I enjoy them, but I can just never catch IndyCar enough on the weekend when it comes, because I'm just too busy on the weekends with other stuff. So I've never truly got fully into it. So really my only motorsport that I enjoy is F1, really. For sure it's come up into my mind, but I just could never commit enough time to start a series like that, you know, on top of all the stuff I'm already doing on the channel. The next question comes from Munro. This got 15 likes, so quite a popular question, apparently. Would you ever play Euro Truck Simulator 2 or American Truck Sim? I've actually already played Euro Truck and American Truck Sim before. I actually played American Truck Simulator on a stream before, and I think it was quite fun on the stream. I think at least people in the stream enjoyed it. And in terms of Euro Truck Simulator 2, I think, hang on, I'll check my Steam. I put in a decent 13 hours on Euro Truck Simulator 2. I played it a lot like 2 years ago, and then I haven't played it since, pretty much. much. The last time I played it was probably back in like early 2014 or something like that, but I've played 13 hours of it, so it's a game I used to enjoy. I probably still would enjoy it if I went back to it, but it's one of those games where you just chill out for like a good hour at least, and I just don't have like an hour just to chill out a lot of the time. I mean, now in the summer, of course, I sort of do, so yeah, I mean, I've played it before. In terms of, you mean if I would ever play it for a video or something like that, maybe it could be quite a funny video, but, you know, obviously, I don't know if it could quite be everyone's style. Next question is from Firebomb. Do I have a girlfriend? No, I do not have a girlfriend. Miro asks, did you study to become the next Adrian Newey in university? No, not exactly, no. Because I'm never going to be as clever as Adrian Newey. But, yeah, for sure, obviously, Adrian Newey does aerodynamics. He was the head technical kind of person at Red Bull and the head kind of aero guy at Red Bull. So that's definitely what I was sort of aiming for when going to university, the course I do. So yeah, you could kind of say that, but I'm definitely not as clever as Adrian Newey. Neek asks, which drivers do you think have the potential to become a world champion, but they just don't have the right car? If we're talking about people who have never been a world champion, then I definitely have to, you definitely have to throw the name of Daniel Ricciardo in the hat. I definitely think that given like, the best car on the grid, he could definitely, get a world championship. Obviously, we've seen at Monaco and stuff like that this season, he's been very, very unlucky. So, with the right luck and the right car, I definitely think Ricciardo could win a championship. I also think potentially Verstappen might have it in him. Obviously, he has to mature. I don't think straight away, if you gave him the right car right now, he would be, but maybe in a couple of years time, like 3 years, once he's fully kind of matured into a completely kind of experienced driver, then yeah, you're gonna throw his name into the hat. I'd also say, obviously, he's not an F1 driver right now, but Stoffel Van Dorn, the amount of, good praise everyone's given him in the world of, like, GP2 and racing, and, watching a few of his GP2 races, he just definitely seems like that sort of driver that could, in the right car, just completely just smash the field and just bring home, like, win after win. So I definitely think Van Dorn would have a, a good shot if he was in the correct car for a world championship. Rebutin asks, were you ever bullied in earlier life or had any mental problems? If so, how did you get over them? Didn't exactly have any mental problems, but for sure I was a little bit bullied, back in like prep school, I think it was. So if you're not from the UK or you don't know that term, basically like age 7 to like 13, I think that would be the way to describe it. For sure, you get that kind of standard prep school bullying stuff like that. Just the general stuff that makes kind of those early years of school pretty damn shit. I guess it's not really a mental problem, but it's definitely a problem I've had to overcome. But not a lot of people know. But I used to have quite a big anger management issue. 7 to like 13. I used to just get so angry at everything pretty much. I used to throw tantrums. I used to get in fights with kids at school. It just wasn't very good. And as I've grown up, I kind of just learned to kind of chill out a lot. And right now, if you know me in real life or you know me as a person properly, you'll know that I'm a very chilled out person. Like it's got to the point where it's got to the point where I'm literally the polar opposite of what I used to be as a kid back then. Like literally back then, everything used to tip me off. I used to get angry about every little thing that maybe didn't go my way or anything like that. And now, pretty much, I'm the flip opposite. Like I literally couldn't give a shit about many things in life. I'm very chilled out. In terms of overcoming bullying in life or like getting over that issue. In terms of getting over the issue, I just sort of eventually grew up a little and kind of just matured into the person I am today. In terms of getting over bullying and stuff like that, I think it's a case of you have to have the right group of friends that can support you in life like that. And also just, I know it may not be very useful, but it's just a case of if it's like verbal bullying in a way, you just have to really, really work on just cutting those people out of your lives. Just avoid them. Just don't take it in, especially on the internet. These days, obviously, internet bullying is quite easy to do. It's your life, you're on the internet yourself, so cut anything out you don't want to be seen. If it's like Facebook or Twitter, if someone's harassing you, just block them easy, like, within 1 second. Like, why would you need to have that in your life? So I'm probably not the best advice ever. That's pretty much the same as saying just get over it. But it was a case of I didn't really do anything specific to kind of overcome it. I just sort of grew up a little bit. It comes with time, I think. As you grow up, you kind of learn how to deal with it mentally. Next question is Blue Blue Axe Racer, what would you change about the new series of Top Gear to improve it? I would cut Chris Evans for sure, because he's just not a good presenter. He may be a good radio host, but he's really not a good presenter. I think the best part about that show was the extra gear part, which was on BBC Three. So I'd get those two as main presenters, along with perhaps Matt LeBlanc here and there, because at least Matt LeBlanc tried a little to be enthusiastic through the first episode, but Chris Evans was just boring as hell and just not a good presenter. So I would cut him for sure. That'd be the biggest thing I'll change. Esan asks, what would you do if McLaren left F1? I think that's sort of asking like, assuming I support McLaren. I say they're a favourite team of mine, but in reality, I don't support any teams in Formula 1. I support one driver, which is Jenson Button. I like other drivers like Sebastian Vettel, Daniel Ricciardo, and Fernando Alonso, but the person I would support till the end of his career is Jenson Button. So if McLaren left, I would pretty much just support, whatever team Jenson went to. And if, McLaren left, then maybe that would mean Jenson would leave. So then I would just pretty much become a neutral and try and find a new driver to support over the next 2 years after that. But in terms of just McLaren leaving the sport, I would just continue supporting whoever Jenson drove for. Zach asks, how did I get into F1? My dad got me into F1 slowly over the course of, I would say 2 years or so. He casually watched F1. He doesn't watch F1 actually anymore. I don't think he's watched a live race in I think 2 years or something like that. But he used to be a casual watcher. He'd watch, the Grand Prix if he had a spare, a couple of hours in the living room or whatever. And then I slowly just started to pick up on it like that, around 07, 6-ish. He was watching it back then, and, I'd watch it occasionally. But it wasn't all the way until 2010 when I fully got into it. Even through 09, I only watched every other sort of race or caught the news on it on BBC, on the BBC website or anything like that. It was only till midway through 2010 where I was like, okay, I want to watch this sport every single time it's on. So, yeah, I mean, it was mainly through my dad. James asked, what are you studying at university and why are you studying it? So this is already sort of half hinted at, but I study Aerospace Engineering, and the reason why I wanted to study it was because I wanted to try and get into Formula 1. Obviously, I've still got a year left of the degree, and then, well, who knows? Obviously, at the moment, the job market is very, very tough. There's only I'll probably say 15 at most aerodynamic places that get opened up every single year, and there's thousands of people applying, so it's a very tough dream to kind of actually get to, but I'm going to be trying my best. But yeah, that's why I chose the degree. But also at the same time, I just don't see myself doing anything else. I've always been very, good with numbers. I've always been comfortable with numbers. I'm never good at words, despite, making videos and talking to a camera and talking to an audience. I'm actually really crap at describing things, on a piece of paper, or if there's a question where it says explain the physics of something, I'm really, really shocking at it. But, give me a maths equation, give me a problem to solve that has to do with algebra or calculus or anything like that, I will do that. So it's just a case of also I was very, very comfortable with this sort of degree. Imad asks, how do you balance YouTube and exams? So this sort of goes back to the first question I answered in terms of doing what you enjoy, and obviously the fact that I enjoy doing this so much and I'm so stubborn about it in a way, really, really helped out during exams in terms of I was so stubborn that I'd sort of maybe sacrifice any free time I had to relax after, revision or exams to make a video. So that's a big thing. And also, I don't know. I personally felt there was actually a pretty okay amount of time where I could make videos. You hear those kind of cliche stories of university students locking themselves in their rooms or going to the library for 10 hours a day and revising. But for me personally, obviously it's all personal taste, but for me personally, I cannot do that. I'm not someone who can just revise for even more than 5 hours a day, I would say. There's just a point in the day where I'm I might be reading this stuff, but it's not going into my mind. So I just give up for the day, and that's when I would make a video, basically. So, there are a couple of days where I was only doing 3 or maybe even 2 hours of revision a day, but I still felt okay with it, because the fact is that I'm just not that sort of person that can keep reading stuff over and over and over again. I'll just let it sit in my mind and try and recall it without having to kind of sit down and read stuff or do questions like that. Obviously, also my degree is a little bit different to maybe something like English or geography or something like that, whereas engineering, the way you revise is you just do questions. You don't actually read much, you just do questions and questions. So it's a bit easier to be okay, I'll do questions for an hour, then go make a video, then I'll do some more questions while that renders. Instead of, like English, it's like, oh, I have to read this entire passage or text, and I have to learn all the quotes and everything like that. So I guess my degree makes it also a little bit easier, but also just the way I approach revision, and also just the fact that I'm very stubborn about making videos, even when I probably shouldn't be. B. Jata, I think that is. Which type of other motorsports do you follow? None. I don't follow any other motorsports, to be completely honest. I only enjoy F1. I've tried to get into other motorsports because people like you guys in the comments and stuff have suggested getting to other sports. On Twitter, people, always are constantly talking about stuff like IndyCar, Formula E. But no matter how hard I try, I'm just really, at the core value, I'm really just not interested in any of it. I'm really just interested in F1. I want to ask, what were your GCSE results like, and how did they affect your future choices? Well, GCSE was quite some time away, so I'm going to have to guess this, but I think I remember I got 5 A stars, 3 A's, and 1 B, I think. I think those were my results. In terms of how they affect your future, I'm going to be completely 100% honest. No one gives a shit about GCSEs. Like, no one does. Literally, like, teachers might tell you they're really important at the time you do them, and, like, the entire build-up of the 2 years of you doing them, they might seem really, really important, but no one gives a rat's ass about your GCSE results as soon as you finish them. They're pretty much like any other exam you've taken before your GCSEs. Like the school exams, like the internal school exams you took maybe at the end of each year. They're pretty much like that. No one actually gives a crap. The only time they might be important is if your school, like mine, had some requirements, like you had to get at least a C or above to do the subject in A-level. So for me, that wasn't an issue because I chose maths, physics, and arts, and economics at the time. So I got A or A star in all those subjects at my GCSE level, so it didn't really matter for me. But some schools really don't even have that, so really they don't really matter too much. So really, if you're stressing out about your GCSEs, I know there are a lot of them, you're probably still taking them, so good luck for the rest of them, but really don't stress about them too much. At the end of the day, no one actually asks for them. They won't come up on CVs for university. They won't come up on CVs for, jobs or anything. No one cares about your GCSE. And so the last 2 questions, they're sort of similar. Callum asks, favorite racing game, which isn't F1. And then Luke asks, what other games do I play besides F1 or other racing games? To answer Callum's question about my favorite racing game, which isn't F1, if we're talking about all time, then definitely has to be either like Need for Speed Carbon or Need for Speed Most Wanted, the original one. Those two were those were so epic. Like, in terms of my childhood, I didn't actually play many racing games. I haven't actually played many racing games in my entire gaming kind of lifespan since I was a kid when I started playing games. But the 2 biggest racing games I can remember from my childhood were Need for Speed Carbon and Need for Speed Most Wanted. Obviously, Underground's up there, but I really actually remember Carbon and Most Wanted the most. Those were just so good. In terms of more present day, I would probably say Forza Horizon 2. Absolutely fantastic game. I picked it up like a year later after it came out for like £15 on Amazon. Played like, I literally, completely like just played it non-stop for like 2 days. Absolutely loved it. Such an awesome, like, it's such a good looking game. It's an open world sort of driving game, and it's a lot of fun in terms of the racing. It's not too difficult, so you can have a lot of fun with it, and the amount of cars they have is awesome. So that would be probably my answer for that. And then the other question by Luke, what other games do you like to play besides F1 or other racing games? The way you sort of asked that question, Luke, sort of suggests that I play more racing games than I do any other game. I'm going to sort of maybe shatter the illusion that maybe some of you guys have about me, but I actually don't play that many racing games. Like, the game I play the most in terms of racing obviously is F1, and that's literally only to record. Like, outside what I do for my videos, I don't play F1 on top of that. That's why a lot of the times on like Twitch streams, when people ask why am I not playing F1, it's because when I do Twitch live streams, I'm sort of just trying to enjoy myself outside my YouTube videos. And when I play anything outside my YouTube videos, it's pretty much never F1, and most of the time not a racing game, apart from maybe Horizon 2 when it came out, and maybe Need for Speed 2015 when it came out. It's probably too many games for me to actually list off, but obviously the usual big suspects are there, FIFA, Call of Duty. If we're talking about specific kind of single-player games, The Last of Us, I absolutely loved when it came out a few years ago. Obviously, Uncharted 4 just came out. I finished that in 12 hours over the course of like 3 days. series when it came out. I absolutely love that to bits. If I actually look briefly underneath my desk at the games I've got, things like I've played Watch Dogs in the past, Far Cry 4, 3, 2, I even played Far Cry 1 on the PC back, like way back in the day, like 2005, like ages ago. Assassin's Creed's got to be another one. I haven't played the Assassin's Creed franchise in about a few years right now because I've just gotten bored of it because it was pretty much the same stuff every single year. But I played basically the first 4 or 5, I think, pretty much up to Revelations, whichever game that was, like in number order. I played it up to Revelations. If we're talking about more games right now, Rocket League, Golf with Friends, Worms Revolution, obviously also GTA 5, which I've made videos on before. But yeah, I played the story mode like 3 times over already, and have played quite a lot of it online with my real life friends. What other stuff? Random stuff like Lego Avengers and stuff like that. I've got a few Lego games like that, and probably too many other games to actually know. I've actually got back in this cupboard behind me about, I would say, 60 plus PS2 games that I used to play as a child, and about maybe 50 odd PS3 games, and I've already got about maybe 30 or more PS4 games that I play. So I play a lot of games outside racing, and racing is actually probably in the minority for games I play, which is always kind of weird for me to like make videos on F1 and like make videos on like other racing games. In reality, it's probably the smallest genre that I actually play. It's always very odd, and it's always kind of sometimes a little bit awkward because I get the feeling that obviously a lot of you guys play more racing games than any other type of genre, whereas I'm very much the polar opposite. It's kind of weird that I made like a main channel making F1 videos and racing game videos. So anyway, that's gonna be the end of the Q&A. So that's been all the questions. So thank you to all of you guys that asked questions in the comments below of my update video. And once again, thank you very much for 80,000 subscribers. I can't say it enough. Like literally 80,000 people. Like thinking about that number is just insane. It's just insane. So thank you guys so much for that again. Hope you guys enjoy the Q&A. Hopefully it wasn't too long. Smash that like button if you did enjoy it. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you've got any questions for me, put them in the comments. I'll try and answer them by, just typing it up. If you're new around here, then subscribe for weekly Formula 1 content. I've been over. Hope you enjoy the rest of the day, and I will see you guys next time.